Right, welcome back. You're tuned in to Radio Karma. Join the caravan. A very good evening to you. And as promised, every Friday we have our sports hour with our handy dandy sports analyst. With us, Sushil is in the studio, and we're obviously going to talk a whole lot of sports, including cricket, football, and basketball. Starting with cricket, but firstly, very good evening to you. How are you?
Good evening, Vaibhav. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And, especially after the third test match, I am doing even better. Because when, all else was failing, I think there were a few key players that really saved face for the Indian cricket team. And we'll begin talking about that. Starting with Rishabh Pant, what did you think about that particular innings? Because that set up Ashwin and Vihari to do what they did.
Yeah, no, incredible test match. I think we should say in 2020 anything can happen. I know it's 21, but this was absolutely unbelievable what they did. And Rishabh Pant, I thought his innings this is what he's capable of, right? I thought you're right. His innings was what, changed the momentum. What it did was it shifted. Australia was on the back foot the way he was playing. I know
absolutely.
They dropped a couple of catches, but I just loved his aggression. The way he played Nathan Lyon was probably the best I've seen anybody play Nathan Lyon this series. Playing against the turn, and he was incredible. I mean, he was, I know 97, but I mean, you would want him to finish and make that 100, but that you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's how he plays, but I thought it was an incredible innings. And that made, what was interesting was the partnership between him and Pujara. And they're completely contrasting players.
Oh, yeah.
Completely contrast. And I thought that partnership... That's what worked. I thought that partnership was a thing of beauty. 148, they put that in a pretty short order. And Pujara, actually, well, I think Rishabh Pant rubbed off on him because he started playing a little aggressive as well after he made
Pant
50.
After Pant was out,
Pant was out, yeah.
So he took over, he tried to do what Pant did.
Yeah,
but
incredible.
Then,
I think to your point, you made the point of people... Look at the four people who saved the face. Vihari, whose position was on the line in the team. Ashwin, who doesn't get the respect that I think he deserves. Rishabh Pant, who is in and out all the time from the side, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about these players who stood up. And Pujara, who till last game people were saying, Ricky pointing, a lot of people had so much negative things to say about the style of play for Pujara. But those are the guys. I think this is one of the best test matches I have seen. It's probably going to go down in the history as one of the best. I know they're calling it an escape. I don't think it was an escape. Australia escaped, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I think at one point, people had already started talking about an Indian win.
Yeah.
If I think Rishabh Pant would have stayed a little bit longer and played the way he did, it would have been that way. But you know what, Rishabh Pant, the one thing I like about him is just because he was inching towards 100, he was not trying to play defensive, and he was playing his natural game.
Yeah.
And even though he got out, but you know what? That's what it is.
That's
you have to play
how he
your
plays.
natural game.
And you know what? When people say, "Oh, you should have slowed down," but that's what got him to 97. Nobody complained when he made 97.
Exactly.
That's how he plays, and you have to give credit that he was thinking about a win. And even though Rahane will never claim it, but I think at that point India was going for a win. And you're right. If he would have stayed for 10 more overs, India would have actually won this match. And even if, think about it, if Vihari did not injure his hamstring, we have to talk about Vihari and Ashwin, but if he did not injure his hamstring, even they would have gone for a win. Because we lost by 78 runs. And for 2.5 hours, Vihari and Ashwin were not looking to score a run.
Right. And it's mind you, it is very, very difficult not to score. I mean, the temptation is always there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're going to get those half volleys and you're going to get those, front foot square drive kind of deliveries.
Yeah.
But you have to defend them.
Incredible courage, grit, determination, and to have 7 people around you, right? He had at one point, at actually every point, they had Nathan Lyon. And I thought the way they divided between Vihari and Ashwin was fabulous. Vihari's hamstring was gone. He was on one leg. He could not play Nathan Lyon because you have to stretch and come to the front foot. So Ashwin played Lyon and Vihari played the pace bowlers because they were not really running. I thought having 8 people around you, slips and silly mid-off, short leg and all that, and then to be able to defend, they got hit on the chest, on their arms, on their thighs. I have never seen a display of batting and that
Grit.
kind of courage,
Grit.
in a long, long time.
Absolutely.
The runs don't matter because I'm glad they didn't go for the runs because you're right. After Rishabh was out, there was no point going for the run. They made that switch. The guy, he played on one leg, Vaibhav, for playing 2.5 hours against the best attack in the world.
Name me a professional athlete who would have a level 2 tear in his hamstring. Okay, and that's what we found out.
That's what we
later,
found out, correct.
That it was a level 2 tear. Name me one athlete who would stand there and play the way he did continuously for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't think of any. Yeah, I cannot. Like, he was playing, like Australian commentators were saying he should go back, of course, right? Retired hurt, go back, and then come back in the end. But I thought it was incredible what he did. There were a couple of catches dropped, but I think Australia was one, they were under the pump, and second, you could see they were rattling. They were completely rattled. They didn't expect Ashwin, and Ashwin hasn't played like this in a while. I mean, in all fairness.
They were bewildered, I think.
Yeah.
If you look at Nathan Lyon's face
Yeah.
when Pant was hitting him for back-to-back boundaries
Yeah.
Every over,
Yeah.
he was in shock.
He had no idea what was going. They said the record said in Sydney, chasing team has not scored more than 200 or 250. To these guys, we scored 320 or 30 already.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just one of the best test matches, and I never thought I would appreciate something like this. But the beauty of what Vihari and Ashwin did, I don't think you'll see that. It's hard to see that kind of courage and determination.
Absolutely, and that brings me to the fourth test match. I think we are definitely short of a lot of firepower here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a bowling lineup for India like that.
Yeah, I mean, how many players? About 5 to 6 players are out?
Yeah, I mean, if you make a team, you can make a playing 11 out of the injured players right now. That's how many people are out. Because
Exactly.
all their starting bowlers, second string is out too, because Umesh Yadav is second string. He's out. To have a bowling attack that has 4 test matches between them is just unheard of. And they are fighting it out. I know they're 291 for 5. Australia's batting first. But we dropped a few chances yesterday. Those catches would have changed. They say catches win matches. I think we dropped 3 catches yesterday. That could have changed this game completely. But at this point, I think you were saying during the break, Weber, whatever happens to this game, to this match, it doesn't matter. I think India has earned so much respect, and it doesn't matter. Of course, we want to win because this would be the most unlikeliest and the historic win of all time if they can pull this out.
Absolutely, and if we just look at the percentage prediction right now, 63% is in favor of Australia, 33% for a draw, and 4% for India. If that even counts after the third test match, I think the percentages were out of, they were thrown in the trash.
Exactly. At one point, there was like 80% Australia win and 1% India, and I don't know, they had to draw, and then slowly it kept creeping up. And I think, you know what, this game, talking about this match now, if India can, I know 291 for 5, it's a tall order, but if India can get them out by 375 or so, you never know. I mean, India's batting lineup is still pretty darn good because all the injuries have unfortunately been on the bowling side. So Mayank Agarwal is back. We have to see where he plays. You never know. Anything. I think this team, I'm not going to count them out.
And I think Rohit Sharma's role as a batsman is going to be
extremely important,
extremely vital, and very, very important when India starts.
Completely agree. I think that's a great point. Between him and Shubman Gill, they've given India good starts, but right now they need to convert those starts into.
We don't want 50s, 60s.
No.
We probably want a century.
We want a century from one of them, absolutely. And then Pujara will do his thing. Pujara always does his thing. But you have Pujara, you have Rahane, you have Pant, you have Mayank Agarwal. I don't know what to expect of Mayank, though, because in all fairness, he's not going to open, so who knows where he'll bat. But with this team, one thing we have learned, Vaibhav, in this series is you can never count these guys out.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting, and that's what makes it so watchable.
Yeah,
is
incredible test series. I don't think I've ever seen a test series this intriguing in a long time, and it's unfortunate the way Pakistan played against New Zealand and some of the other test matches that are happening right now. Sri Lanka and England, I think England bowled them out for 132, but the quality of cricket that you're seeing between India and Australia is unbelievable.
Absolutely. And you know what? Before we wrap up cricket, let's also talk about team selection and what this Test series does when everything is said and done. I think we've found a lot of great talent
Yeah.
And now it's going to be very, very hard for the selectors to select day in and day out what players to pick and what not.
No, absolutely. I mean, look at the bench strength. What this has told me is two things. One, the amazing bench strength that India has, especially in the bowling department. Think about those days when you had Javagal Srinath and Venkatesh Prasad, and that was it, right? Now you have 8 or 9 legitimate fast bowlers. I mean, you have 4 of them playing here that are third string fast bowlers, and you have 4 of them that are injured. It's incredible bench strength. One thing that India probably needs to look at and work on is fielding. I think that department, I think that fielding coach has to go, unfortunately. And second, they need to look at the conditioning of their players, because too many injuries.
Yeah.
They need to figure out something that they're doing that is not working clearly, because Saini was playing yesterday and he injured his groin muscle and he's out again. So now we're back to 4 bowlers. So there's something happening there that they need to sit back and think about that.
And it's kind of strange that fielding off late was a strong side for
Yeah,
India.
exactly.
It was a strong point for India, especially when you talk about one
Dhoni, and under Dhoni it all changed. And Virat has always set the highest standard for fielding, but something has happened in this tour, and maybe you can blame it on the rust from the long lapse with COVID and what have you. And they played IPL, but in IPL you don't, right? It's 4 overs, 20.
Nobody feels in
Nobody feels exactly. Nobody feels in IPL. The ball always crosses the boundary. But yeah, I think that might be it. But other than that, man, this has been doesn't matter who wins, but and I really hope India does, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they've just shown so much courage.
It's definitely going towards Australia right now.
Right now, yeah.
And you know what? Worst case scenario, it could be another draw if India really pulls.
Or if there's some rain, they're saying this afternoon there could be rain. If there's some rain, maybe. But yeah, it's looking like Australia. Australia has never lost on this ground for the last 30, 40 years. So, but like I said, you just never know.
And plus, they're going to come with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're a cricket team.
I mean, we had them on the ropes yesterday. If those catches would have been taken, then Australia would have. I mean, we had Labuschagne. He gave a catch at the catch that Rahane dropped. Labuschagne was on 30 and he scored 110 runs. So anyway, things happen.
Let's also, before we wrap up this segment, and then we'll talk about basketball and football in our next segment. David Warner, he was out again on.
What a beauty! What a beautiful ball! But yeah, scoring one, the first over.
Yeah, and he's been a disappointment. He's only batted thrice.
3 times, yeah. He's
So-
never scored, by the way. They were saying a stat yesterday, three innings, a score of 112 and 1. That's the lowest that he has ever done in the last 3. But, when people say Rohit Sharma and how he's playing and he should play better, think about that. They both came back and see what Rohit is doing and what David Warner is not able to do.
Absolutely. And when we come back after a short commercial break, we're obviously going to talk about a blockbuster trade in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then, of course, NFL is NFL.
Divisional playoffs.
Divisional playoffs. And we'll try to make some more predictions and see where that goes. This whole COVID thing has definitely come in the way of sports. But I think NFL has really, really handled it.
Yeah, incredible. I didn't expect the season to finish, so it's incredible what they've done.
At least they're finishing up the season.
Almost finishing.
So we'll talk about a whole lot of NFL, a lot of basketball, and then in the middle, if there's a wicket that falls between India Australia, we'll definitely let you know on how that goes. Right now, as it stands, it is at about 292 for 5, and Green and Payne, they're playing right now. They're batting right now. So we'll talk about a whole lot of sports when we come back. Keep listening to Radio Karma. Join the caravan. If you want to say something, definitely give us a call here. 214-817-3333 is the number to the studio. If you have an opinion that you would like to share with us, then definitely go ahead and do that. We're going to be right back for you. All right, welcome back. You're tuned in to Radio Karma. Join the caravan, and this is your sports hour with our handy-dandy sports analyst. Sushil is with us this evening. We talked about cricket. Now let's shift gears and talk about the NFL and divisional playoffs. Sushil, this is that time where what teams really play for and heading towards the championship games and then eventually the Super Bowl.
Yeah. The best, supposedly the best weekend of football is upon us right now. Four games, and I think it's going to be a cracker of 4 games. Vaibhav. Last week, I thought the wild card weekend was good as well. because we had the bonus extra game. But yeah, I'm looking for. I think we were just going through the games. Your Packers are playing the Rams. That's the first game Saturday, and then Ravens and Bills, which I think would be a cracker of a
That'll
game.
be interesting, yeah.
Browns and Chiefs. I'm really looking. I know that Chiefs are favored, but Browns they were incredible
You don't
against the
count them out.
Steelers. You cannot count them out.
At this point, you really cannot count any team out.
Any team out, but the way they played against the Steelers was incredible. I mean, the thing with with Browns is Browns start fast, and Chiefs usually start slow. They're coming off of a bye, which is the first round bye, but you know, I trust Andy Reid in a bye. Of course, logic would say that Chiefs are making it all the way, but it's going to be a fun game. And then
Browns play hard-nosed football.
Browns play hard-nosed football. They run the ball.
Yeah.
They're built on Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. They run the ball really well. The defense, I mean, they've never been this far in a very long time. So it's going to be a fun game. I think Bucks and Saints, I mean, talk about 240, I don't know, 100-year-old between them. I don't know how old both of them are, Brady and Breeze, but it's incredible how those guys are still playing at a high level. But that's going to be an incredible game as well.
Something tells me Brady is going to the championship game.
That would be
If it was all scripted, this is what would happen.
Yeah, if this was scripted, yeah. No, you're right. I guess my dislike for Brady is well documented, but you have to give him credit. I mean, this will be incredible. If he makes it to the championship game, if he makes it there, then, I would put my money on him going to the Super Bowl.
Making it to the divisional playoff game in his first year with the Bucks is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, look at the weapons around him, though. It's just embarrassment of riches that he has. When you have Gronk and Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, it's crazy. But I think Saints and Bucks, I know Brady is a new member in that rivalry, but it's a division game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be close. Saints have a really good roster, but something seems off about the Saints. It took a while for them to beat the Chicago Bears as well. I mean, the score says it was easy, but it was a close game for a while. But I think your Packers, Vaibhav, are looking like, right now, if I have to pick the best team in NFC, it is the Packers.
No, absolutely.
It is the Packers.
Absolutely.
You cannot say anybody else at this time.
Right, and I still hold ground to what we discussed earlier in the past weeks, and that is I think the Packers are going to make it to the Super Bowl, and I think if all goes well, Chiefs will definitely make it to the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, that's a good pick. We should probably pick our winners for this weekend and also pick our upsets, if any, for this weekend. But I agree with you. I think Packers are playing the best ball right now, and this is a great chance for him to win one more. Rodgers hasn't won in a long time.
I pick Bucks to win, and that would be my upset if that was an upset.
Well, I mean, right now you're right. I mean, I think Saints are favored by 3, so that would be an upset. So Rams and Packers, no guess. You're picking the Packers.
Yeah,
I'm picking the Packers too. Bills and Ravens.
That's an interesting one.
That's a really fun one.
Whoever wins, it's not really an upset.
Yeah, Bills are favored by 2.5, and I can see that. But and I think Bills are playing exceptional, but I have a feeling Ravens are going to win.
Yeah, I also feel that the Ravens probably have a little bit of more gas in their tank.
Yeah, and then there was a monkey on his back to get through first playoff win. Lamar Jackson, he did that against how you can't write the script better. Like they lost last year to the Titans in the divisional round, and they came back and beat them. So that's one. And then Browns and Chiefs.
Would be the biggest upset.
Chiefs are up by 10 points. I don't know how Vegas comes up with this. I can see Chiefs winning, but I don't see 10 points. I think Browns are going to make
it a game.
Yeah, that would be an upset. I don't know if I'm going to put my money on the Browns, but that would be a major upset if the Browns win.
Right. So your upset would be what?
My upset is the Bills are losing. Ravens are going to win that game.
Okay.
And then I think the Saints are going to win against the Bucks. So that's not really an upset.
That's just you being biased.
I guess I'm being biased. Yeah, that's true. If I go wild, I should pick the Browns on the Chiefs. I think if I had to put money, that's where you make the most money in Vegas.
That brings me to the point we never discussed your performance in your fantasy football.
Is this the right time to maybe wrap up the show? No, I made it to the playoffs. I shouldn't say made it. I crawled my way through the playoffs and lost in the first round. So.
Well, at least you made it to the playoffs.
I made it to the playoffs.
The Cowboys couldn't even do that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm better than Cowboys. It was race to the bottom, but I made it at least. But yeah, my fate was similar to NFC East, one and done. So
okay. Well, we were talking about this. You have to give credit to the Washington football team for showing up a little bit, and
Absolutely. I
know.
thought they played. Even against the Bucks, they put up a really good fight. I mean, they were just playing hurt, right? I thought that quarterback, the second string quarterback, was fabulous, and the deserved team have made it to the NFC East division winner, which was Washington. So, but yeah, I mean, they didn't stand a chance against the Bucks.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Cowboys, I mean, where does this organization, look to after this year? I mean, the only place you can really go is up. I mean, we say that every year, but it just doesn't happen.
They still find a way to go down, right? Every year. But what did you think about the new? I think they hired Dan Quinn, I thought, right?
Yeah, they did.
As their coach, defensive coach. I don't know. I thought that was.
To me, when we hired a bunch of coaching, we made a lot of coaching staff changes last year. Everybody was really gung ho about a whole lot of things, and to me, it doesn't really make a difference. We have to see it on the field.
Yeah,
and now we need some sample size. We just don't want talks of people getting changed and then giving us false hope.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. We'll talk about next week about the coaching carousel because Jets hired Robert Saleh as their head coach. He's the Niners defensive coach as well, and I think that's a great pick. But Dan Quinn, he was Falcons head coach for a long time, and I just don't get that pick at all. But you know what? I don't get the coaching moves from Dallas anyway. So
all right, so now let's switch gears from football to basketball. Incredible blockbuster deal happened a couple of days ago, and that was the man, James Harden. He is out of Houston.
Yeah,
and he's with the Nets now. What do you think about that?
Incredible. I didn't expect that kind of a blockbuster trade. And we knew Harden was going somewhere, right? Clearly, he was not happy. He was not playing. It was done, right? He was not playing. He was done with Houston. But what the Houston Rockets got in return is where
You're questioning it.
I'm questioning the trade. I'm like, what did you get? You got some picks and all of that, but but now forget Houston Rockets now. Think about Nets, and you have Kyrie, KD, and Harden. So KD and Harden are united now after their days with Oklahoma when they were together. There was a reason they actually that partnership didn't work.
Everybody wants a ball.
Right, exactly. So there were three of them. It's funny how it's worked. There were three people together there, KD, Kyrie, and I think the third one was Chris Paul, if I remember. But there were three people there, and now two of these guys are back. I don't know, but you made a really good point is all three of them want the ball. And that's why I think Harden and Chris Paul didn't work, is because Harden plays, point guard. Harden does everything, right? He holds the ball.
Harden plays every position.
And now there's only one ball to go around. So on paper, it's a massive deal. I think for a Nets fan, you have to be excited. There's more, but
the coaching staff is going to get sleepless nights.
Yeah, but talk about a blockbuster move. Nets who are here to win, and a more power to their management team to come up with a move like this. They're here to win now, and if they can make it work, there's a lot of superpower in that team right now, and Nets will make some noise.
You
Absolutely.
think LeBron is losing some sleep right now?
He might. You never know, but he might. Look at the East, right? Right now you would say that they're coming off. I think it's Bucks and right now you would say Milwaukee and the newfound Nets. And I thought Miami was really good in the playoffs last year, but on paper these guys are really good right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Really good right now.
The firepower that the Nets have right now.
You can't debate that. Yeah. LeBron has. I still think Lakers are the best team, but they have some new pieces too. But yeah, think about an NBA final. I'm already salivating if it is Lakers versus the Nets, and you have Harden, KD, Kyrie, LeBron, and
almost
AD.
like an all-star game.
Oh my God, it's an all-star game. It'll be amazing if we can get to that final.
But that's not going to happen because the Lakers are not going to make it to the finals. It's going to be our Dallas Mavericks.
It's going to be Luka. Yeah. Well, you know what? If you ask me today, the team that can challenge the Lakers,
it's probably the Dallas Mavericks.
It's probably the Dallas. People are picking Clippers. I think it's the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
if they can stay healthy.
We are actually gaining some momentum.
Yeah.
We've won about 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
I know it's very, very early.
Super early.
But
yeah.
Luka is actually, kind of firing up his engine.
Yeah. No, you're right. They need to stay healthy. It's a long season. Like we were talking NFL and, pleasantly
And it's not
surprised.
just injuries. It's COVID.
It's COVID, exactly. We all were pleasantly surprised. I never expected the NFL season to come this far, and we have. But I think NBA may end up in a bubble. That's my prediction. Some point soon, we would be in a bubble because I don't know how you can do what we're doing.
I think what they should do. I think what they should do is once it comes playoff time, they should switch back to
the bubble.
What they did last year.
Yeah.
And that would be smart.
But do you think they'll play 80 games? I know you were saying they released the schedule only for the first half, right?
And that was smart as well because
they could actually stop the season there.
They could actually stop the season there and begin playoffs.
So based on that point, the point you just made, even though right now in an 82-game season, 6-4 looks like no big deal, there's 70 games left.
But
that may not be the case.
Season, that makes a huge difference.
That's 25% of season done. And I think that every team probably has to play with that mentality that this season could end in 40 games.
Exactly.
That's going to make it fun and competitive, which is good.
And it makes it interesting because, every game is important.
Yeah, because with NBA, you always said, you know what, you knew which teams are going to make it. And just, wake me up when we get to April, right, or May. But you can't say that anymore.
Absolutely. Well, it was fun chatting with you, and we'll give a score update real quick.
We should check.
It is about 298 for 5.
Oh, still 5?
It's still 5, 299 for 5. So yeah, that's
well,
what
we'll
it
see.
is. I think Australia is playing a little bit more defensive right now, and rightly so because I think their target. Because if you remember last innings. They declared at about 370 or something. When they were, you're right. The lead ended up being 407, but they declared when they were So I mean, right now they probably are aiming for something much more comfortable.
Yeah, right. I mean, the way they're playing, if I'm an Australian fan, 300 for 5, you would think that from here they would make 400, 450.
Right.
If they make 450, Vaibhav, this game is out of reach for India, I think. Because then you have to think about it. You have to bat and you have to make 450. Or plus to get a lead. If you are down by 100, 200 and you're coming to bat again, and Australia can pile up another 200. With this bowling attack, I think if there was Bumrah, Ashwin here, but right now with this
India,
bowling attack,
it's crucial in the next 15 to 20 overs.
They need to
get a wicket.
Because right now, if you break this partnership, you're in the tail. Even though their tail is not really a tail, our tail is a true definition of tail. By the way, and these guys are not tail. But the lower order, I should say.
But you know what? Crazier things have happened.
Oh yeah,
and
we were all out for 36, so anything can happen.
And we're in the 379th day of 2020, so I think anything can happen. Right?
Fair enough.
All right. On that note, thank you so much for joining in, and I will speak to you next Friday, and hopefully we'll have a win or a draw.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we'll have playoff results as well. Thanks, Vaibhav. Have a great weekend.
You too.